So welcome back to the Glittering Library. So this is my January reading journal setup. So you can see the pretty little icicles with the crystals there. That is going to be our top border. I'm doing kind of a wintry theme for January since, it's usually cold in most parts of the world, not here in Florida. Well, I take that back. At the time I'm doing this recording, there is some kind of like Arctic thing going through that it is freezing here in North Florida, and there's always like some potential for snow. So, yeah, thanks, Mother Nature. So, I did something a little different this go around that I used this iron on fabric trim that they're like crystal bars with the little studs in between. That's going to be my top edge, and then I'm going to use a different one for the bottom that you'll see it soon. I just thought it gave something different. These were a little hard to use. They are supposed to be ironed on, but since there was so much plastic, I didn't want to use my little mini Cricut iron, so I decided to glue them down. I will link everything in the bottom, but this is the Art Glitter Glue. If you use this stuff, whoa, be careful where you put it because it will stick. It does not like to come up afterward. It will rip the paper, so make sure wherever you're putting it is exactly where you would like it. I had to do a couple layers of the glue because it didn't fully want to stick to the washi PET tape. Then I did my January title. I used it's actually a glittery, sparkly highlighter that I found on Amazon. Very pretty colors. It comes in like a set of, I think, 8 or something. Very, very pretty. That I found a font on my computer that I liked how it looked, so I kind of tried to copy it. That's what this is. That you'll see at the end that I did go back and add some things, and I'm trying something new that I will tell you about at the end, so please stick around till the end so you can see what I came up with. But I am definitely leaning into the travel overall theme for every month. We're going to be going on some adventures, so make sure you stick around to see kind of how I'm going to try to do adventures. These stickers are also from Journal Say. It's 2 different blues of these snowflakes. They're holographic, they're jeweled looking, 2 different blues. This is the other trim that I found. The top trim, it doesn't really like to close on itself, so I did have to go back and take out some pieces just so that it would close. The bottom one seems to close a lot better as far as not going on itself and making it move. They're both gorgeous, but I didn't really want to use the wider one on absolutely everything, so I used the narrower one on this cover setup, and then also on the next page, which you will see in just a couple minutes. Went with some of the bigger snowflakes and a smaller one just to kind of give it a little something. I am all about the bling, so this is definitely up my alley. The bottom trim seemed to work better with the glue. I don't know if it's because it's a wider trim and there was more surface area that I could put the glue on, but it seemed to stay in place better than the top trim. That kind of closing the journal, it does make it bulge out at the top more so than the bottom, but I like it. It's different. I've never seen anybody do it. I found the trim at Hobby Lobby over in their fabric section. I've had it for a while and just didn't have anything I wanted to use it on, so this just seemed like the perfect icy accent to use. I know I'm getting this January setup late. Sorry. It's been crazy. I've been working on things. I have all the books. that I've been reading. I have that list that I've been updating. I'll be doing a February setup shortly and an update on how January turned out. But it is what it is at this point. I've been crazy at my real job, and you know, it's been a long couple of weeks. I decided to go back over the font just so that it stood out a little bit more, make it a little bolder, make it so the sparkles were easier to see. It is a very sparkly highlighter. Like every little bit of it is super sparkly, but I was just trying to make it stand out a little more because one pass through, it didn't look dark enough to me. So now we're moving on to the other page. I'm not a super huge stats person as far as like what I keep up with, probably because of how many books I read. That's why I don't really keep up with the different page lengths and things like that. So this setup is mostly just going to be the total books that I have read, the total number of pages, and the average rating that I gave everything. On the other page, it's going to wind up being a list of the books that I've read for the month and the favorite books that I've had for the month. I am a perfectionist, so that's why I kind of have to go back and move the tape, because if it didn't line up exactly along the dot that I was trying to put it on, I'm going to move it. I'm also going to move any little bit of something that kind of bothers me. So that's the reason for the tape coming up multiple times. You'll see kind of throughout that I lift things and move them until they're exactly where I would like them to be. I don't know, I might change it as far as the year goes on, of if there are more stats that I kind of want to keep up with, but for right now, I'm just going to kind of do the basics. I have StoryGraph. That's where I keep up with everything. That's where I get all of my numbers from. So if I want to look at any of it, I can kind of look at it there. But for the most part, that's what I'm going to kind of try to stick with. This trim, it did not want to fully cooperate with me, so I'm having lots of problems as far as clipping it and getting it exactly where I would like it. Would I use it again? Maybe. I don't know if I would use it in as big of pieces as I did this time, but I'd probably use it again for something else. Then I also used this fun little PET tape I also found at Journal Say. They're like these winter royal jewels. They have snowflakes all over them. They are so pretty. Snowflakes are one of my kind of signature things. I guess because I live in Florida, I don't know, and I'm not around them that much. I think that they're pretty, but being in them is not my favorite thing for a very long time. So I would rather see pictures of them, especially in a journal, and they look like jewelry. So double win. These are just going to kind of be little inside borders for my little sections that I'll be writing in shortly. Yep, perfectionist back at work. Got to make sure they line up and that they fit in there. Then I took a couple of the snowflakes and I thought that it needed more. Cut a couple of them in half. Use them as trim around the edges just to give it something else that you'll see me in just a second of. I'm moving them around. I'm just trying to find the placement of where I like them best and what kind of look it gives that I wound up just using the larger, lighter color one on the sides and the smaller, darker snowflake along the bottom edge. I like it. I don't know. All of the jewels, they all seem to go together. All of the jewelry, all the sparkles, all of the holographic little bits and pieces. Honestly, this setup is probably the most me I have done in a journal so far. It's not so over the top, but it is over the top as far as the things that are in it. Like, there may not be a whole lot of elements, but it is definitely over the top and extra and sparkly and jewels and pretty much you name it. So yeah, I think this is the most me setup that I have outside of the page that I added at the end of this that you will see in just a couple minutes in the flip through. That I think that's the most excited I have been about something, that I have made something that I have never seen anybody do. My own sort of passport, but I'll definitely show you more in depth in just a minute. So make sure you stick around for that. That, I don't know, it's something totally different and original, and I'm super excited to see how I use it for the rest of the year. Yeah, I was trying to figure out which pen to use, and why not go back to my sparkles. So this is just for my different headings. It is a chisel tip highlighter pen. So with my handwriting, which is yes, this is my normal handwriting. It doesn't always like to cooperate unless I have it along that fine chisel edge for most things. We'll see if down the line, if I change the placement of things, if I add in any more stats. But for right now, this is, I think, what I'm going to stick with at least for a little while. I may have just the books read, leave it as an entire page just for itself, only because of where we are at this point in the month, that I've almost run out of room already, and I've had to add a tip in. So we will see how I rearrange things for the next several months. Then I'm just going to add some sparkly blue glitter washi tape as my little underline areas. Like I said, I did go back and add some things later on. You know, the more that I left it just kind of out and sitting and what else did it need, I did go back and add some stuff. Like I said, extra. That is me. Just to kind of tie it all together. So yes, the perfectionist is coming back in all of this of it has to line up in certain places, it has to sit certain places, try not to cover up letters too much. So I am looking forward to showing you the flip through that I have done of what I've read so far in January. I know everybody's getting ready for tomorrow if you're in the US, or if you've already gotten a chance to pick up your copy of Onyx Storm. I am definitely looking forward to that coming out so that I can read it and add it to the book. But yeah, this was part 1, and then here you go. So here's the final flip through for January. I have all my sparkles, all my snowflakes. Deciding right now that I want to keep track of the total books, pages, average rating. Again, I'm just going to list out all the books that I've read and then put the book covers for my favorite books for the month. And then I decided to lean into this whole travel thing a little bit more. So instead of it just being like, different seasons or different whatever, I'm going to go to different locations over the year. So each month I'm going to pick a location and I'm going to take a book from, from that country, from an author that is from that country, so that I can also add to my Reading Around the World challenge. So for January, I picked Iceland. So I went with Last Rituals by, I'm going to butcher this, Yarsa Sigar's daughter, and listen to it on audiobook since that's how my library has it. And then I'll write my review over here. But I'm basically going to have like my own little mini passport. So I have my little passport stamps and things, and every month we're going to go on an adventure. So I will see you soon for my flip through for the month of everything that I read, and we're going to set up for February and figure out where our next adventure is going. So I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.